Welcome. We have another special episode for you. So, I actually connected with our guest today on multiple levels. First and foremost, y'all know I cannot take pills. I talk about it all the time. No pills, no potions. And what was the other? No pills, no potions, no powders. Right?
That.
And everyone who has listened to me for any length of time knows I suck at taking pills. Well, we met because she produced a product along the same lines with the same thinking. So let me introduce you to Leslie. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we're going to talk about gut health today. And not only gut health, how you can improve your gut, but how products like hers can help you do so with ease. That's what we're all about here, is making things easy, making healthy easy, and stop with the overwhelm and all the other crap. So,
Absolutely.
welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Cheers. We were chatting about coffee too. So yeah, I'm the founder of Vitaminis. We have these two little shots. And like Bonnie said, it's no pills, no powders. The other thing I would say, no strong flavors. So my goal when I started this product, I also don't like pills. They make me sick. And when I was pregnant, I had to take those big, fat, hunk prenatal vitamins, and I would get nauseous every time. I had to plan a snack around it. And then also they have weird ingredients. I don't love gummy vitamins either. Sure, they're great if like you want a piece of candy, but like every day, I don't want to take it on a routine. And so my goal with this product is I looked around and I said, where is that very natural food or beverage that just has a little bit more nutrition, a little bit more benefit? And I did not see that out there. There are liquid vitamins out there, but they have lots of sugar, lots of weird ingredients, got to measure and pour. And so vitamins are tasty, easy, no refrigeration, no strong flavors, no ginger, turmeric, pepper. You can pop it in a purse or a lunchbox, and it's just easy. Put it in a smoothie. Do whatever you want. You can get your vitamins in so easily.
I love that. I used to take, so those prenatal vitamins, I used to grind them up.
Oh, yeah. That's so much work.
It was tons of work, but it was much easier than trying to choke them down.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I get that.
Oh, and every time you turn around, someone's like, "Oh, I have a better solution for you," but it's just more pills in smaller form. That's
Yeah,
not a
there's a lot of problems with pills. So a lot of people can't swallow them, and they're actually just not made for easy digestion. They're like a big chunk. And I heard once that if you were to get an endoscopy or colonoscopy, they'll often find pills in people's guts that never got digested. They like stick to the lining and just like sit there. And part of why they make you nauseous is it's like a big chunk of stuff that releases all this stuff at once. It's just not the way your body's meant to have nutrients. So
exactly.
a lot of problems.
A lot of problems. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and there's so much more so some of the first classes that I took when went back to school, my husband could not stay in the house if I was watching a lecture. It gets quite gross. And when
Oh,
you
yeah.
really think about it, I mean, that just cemented, those classes really just cemented my drive to focus on whole foods. And that's part of what I like about your product. And it's funny, I recorded the TikTok to do a blind taste test because I got my samples, and they were delicious, you guys, by the way. Just if you missed the TikTok, they were delicious. They were actually really good. They're definitely something that you can grab and go first thing in the morning. So one of them, I didn't finish it during the blind taste test, and the next morning when I woke up and I had to run out the door, I just grabbed it because one of the boys was coughing and sneezing because preschool sends home cooties.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, cooties. There's a new thing popping out no matter what. So I grabbed the rest of the immune support and I drank it on the way to school. And that was one of the things I noticed is I hadn't eaten yet. But because it comes from whole foods, you're getting whole food nutrition along with your immune support. Your food is your medicine. It's
That's
how
so great. Yeah, it's just like a little sip of juice, like a little mini snack almost.
Yeah, for sure. And the most interesting part about it is when I first start working with people, a lot of them I actually pull them off their multivitamin.
Oh.
until they receive some sort of a neutral balance. If their supplements coming from whole foods, I don't touch them. But in a lot of extreme cases, they're not really even absorbing the nutrients of what they're taking anyway, because their body is in such an extreme state of inflammation that it just can't. It's getting all the supplementation. And like you said, it's getting it in a bulk form. It doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree more. You're preaching to the choir with me.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's one of those things. I'm finding people that think exactly like me, and I love it.
Like the thing, I actually saw some research in particular, older populations like 65 and up, there's this massive pill fatigue going on because they have not only their supplements they're trying to get healthy with, but also all their medications. And it's like 10 pills a day sometimes. And I couldn't tell you how many times I'm in stores sampling and older folks will come up to me and be like, I am so sick of pills, so sick of pills.
My mom has like one of her kitchen drawers, and a wide kitchen drawer, not a skinny one, a wide one. All of her medications, all of her supplements.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's insane. And she's like, "Oh, I just popped them here and there." I'm like, "No, no." But you get too close, and
Oh yeah. Well, send her some Vitaminis. She might like them.
I'm planning on it because I think these would really help her. And she, one of the things that she struggles with is those extreme flavors.
Oh yeah. Me
Flavor.
too. And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel bad about the ginger. I feel like almost like it's not cool to not like ginger, but I just don't love it. A lot of people love it, but yeah, I think people expect if something's good for you that you're gonna like almost gag if you taste it, but it shouldn't have
Yeah.
to be that way. You know?
No, no, you shouldn't have to choke it down.
No.
You really shouldn't. And, having products, and I had mentioned to you before we started that when I tried the immune support and I was looking at the label, I didn't look at the label before I tried it. And I'm looking at the label, and the first thing I said absentmindedly is, there's no turmeric.
Yeah.
Wasn't that bite on the end of my tongue from the turmeric and the ginger.
Yeah.
Oh, and so my mom's a perfect example of someone who would do well with this.
That's great.
So I'm definitely we have to send some to her because I think she would really appreciate this. It would knock out at least 3 of her pills, that's for sure.
Oh, good. Yes, totally. Love it.
So you actually have a very interesting story of how you got to the point that you're as researched and delved into gut health and improving health using whole foods as I am. Can you share your story with everyone? Because I love
Yeah.
it. I think
And
everyone needs to hear it.
I almost feel like I stumbled in a little bit, but I've always been very passionate about nutrition. I really do believe that what you put in is what you get out. And a lot of ailments that we have today are a result of poor nutrition or could be resolved with better nutrition, lifestyle, exercise, sleep, that kind of thing. So I've always been sort of like this holistic mindset. And I'm not a big foodie, so I'm not like in the kitchen whipping up delicacies and tasting things. Like I enjoy good food, but I think of it almost like it's more scientific for me. It's like a math equation, all the parts you got to get. So that's always been true. But for a lot of my career, I was working in big corporate environments and kind of on that track. And the last 4 years, pretty much right before I started COVID, I was working for an alcohol company. And don't get me wrong, I also like alcohol. But we would see all this research coming in from, big research studies around what people wanted. And it was nutrient dense, clean label, better for you. Just like all these really like, it's like an upswell of everybody wants to be healthier. They want it to be easy. They want it to be clean. And I knew in this alcohol company, we were never going to do any of that stuff, So I would see the research and I started writing it down. So probably for that, maybe 5 years before I started Vitaminis, I had a PowerPoint slide on my computer and I would make notes. People want this. The world needs that. This is kind of where things are headed. So that's a little bit of backstory. Then in 2019, I left the alcohol company and I joined a hotel company. Bad timing. Because COVID was right around the corner. But I joined this company to work with an old classmate of mine. It was great. They were growing. It was exciting. And I was there for about a year when COVID hit, and everything just completely shut down. All the people I had hired, we all got laid off. Right, first I had to lay off my whole team, and then got laid off myself.
Mhm.
And of course, like nobody's hiring. My kids that were in daycare, I had 3 boys at the time. The daycare shut down. So I was basically thrown into being a stay-at-home mom, out of corporate, stay-at-home mom. And it was a real shocker. It was like it completely upended my purpose. I thought I'm a working mom. I work, I do this, what I do, and all of that was out the window. And so I really think these moments that throw you or just completely like hit you in the face are the moments that really change your life. And it's often for the better. It's hard to see it in the moment, but it ends up being for the better. So I spent about 6 months trying to find a new job. No one was hiring. Obviously, it was literally in COVID, like March through whatever, October. And
Yes.
meanwhile, dealing with my kids, I have one very picky eater. I'm spending a lot of time grocery shopping, preparing food because I was the one to do that. I was thrown into it. Um, and it all kind of came together because I was thinking like, okay, COVID's germs are everywhere. How do we protect our immune systems? I've never liked pills and gummies, and I'm looking around for the solution. I didn't see it. I also am remembering all those notes I'd been taking when I was at the alcohol company, and it's like a light bulb went off. And the other thing I didn't mention is I've always wanted to start something on my own. And I actually met my husband in college in this Chicago entrepreneurial group. We were in this Chicago entrepreneurial group. That's where I met him. And I never did anything with it. Um, so that's like 15 years after that. And it all kind of came together. It was like a light bulb went off. And I had this discussion with my husband. I said, I know I've been looking for a job. His job was secure, luckily, and he was able to work from home. So that was fine. And I said, I really want to try this. I really want to do something with this. There's a need. I've always wanted to. And that's how it started. So it was like, I don't think I would have ever stopped working and done this if it hadn't been COVID, laid off, thrown for a loop. And now, of course, I'm so thankful it happened. So yeah, that's the story.
That is, yeah, I remember you and I talking about that. It's like, that is quite the story. I mean, 2020 was obviously, it was really unique for us because that was the year we had the boys. Um, that was also the year. So for me, I had just finished up a beta test in January, and I was going to launch everything that I just launched in July come March. And then the week that we were supposed to launch was the week that COVID shut down.
Gosh.
And majority of the program was supposed to take place in the Holistic Wellness Center that I worked at. And so that never happened. It got postponed completely. And I mean that was a tough year for everybody. So I hear a lot of stories like yours where people were thrown into these situations that they were not ready for.
Yeah.
And being home with the boys, even part-time up to a couple of months ago, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I have a tremendous respect. It is,
Absolutely.
it's a lot of physical work, but it's also a lot of mental work. It's like you got to get your Zen, you got to get your mindfulness. Like if you're at all in a bad place, it's not going to go well for anyone. I have so much respect. It really, I mean, yeah, it pushes you to be a better person though.
Absolutely. And I think that really pushed society to be a better person. The one thing I have noticed is this field, there are so many more people who are open-minded to hearing, to trying different things.
Absolutely.
Versus before where it was like we were almost pulling teeth trying to get someone to understand that, if you want vitamin C, don't go to the pharmacy, go to the produce section.
Yeah.
Or go to your farmer's market. Or if you're in one of the southern states, walk out your door. A neighbor might have an orange tree. That is the one part I will say I miss about living in California is we had a lemon and lime tree in our backyard. And I mean, they were teeny. They were really teeny, but they would pop out lemons and limes all the time.
That's amazing. I always need a lemon or a lime last minute. And I could just go get it. That'd be so convenient.
And, even today, it's been over 10 years since I lived there. And even today, I still like this morning, I wanted a lemon and I ran out and I forgot. It's not, it hasn't been drilled into my head that I have to buy them again.
Yeah, totally. That's like
Grapefruit.
basil for us. We've got a basil plant and it just produces so much, which is great. You never have to buy it, but I
Yeah,
would love a lime tree.
us too. And it was nice in our little cul-de-sac because we had someone had grapefruits, someone else had avocados that were actually producing fruit, and what I'm finding even today in Texas and in Dallas is there's people doing this here,
Yeah,
and all over the world. There are
that's
people
great.
growing things everywhere. So you just have to talk to your neighbors and get back to that swap.
Oh, I love that. I love educating the kids with that too, like showing them whatever we're growing, like tomato, like here's where tomatoes come from. And
Yeah.
actually, I took it to a vegetable farm over the summer just to pick because like we aren't growing everything, but like at this vegetable farm they had cauliflower and eggplants, and it was fun. It was really cool because it's like, hey, this is what food is. This doesn't come in
That
a
is,
plastic package.
I love that. I don't know that I know we have blueberry picking and pumpkins.
Oh, it's a great search. See, it's a great idea because then they also want to eat the vegetables when you get home because they picked them. And you're like, oh, let's do that.
That is, ooh, I'm definitely
It's a great
going.
activity.
All right. So I have one more question for you. So we had talked about how, the turmeric made it easy. Are there any other products yet? Are there,
Oh, well, I'm working on a third.
okay.
It's called Daily Greens, and it's the same idea, a little shot, but delivering the vitamins that you would get from like dark leafy greens.
Mhm.
So D, A, E, folate, and using like green fruits to make it like whole and palatable. So green apple, pear with all those great vitamins, and then it also has broccoli and spirulina veggie powders in it. So it's like this little tasty veggie smoothie concoction.
Oh,
Um,
I'm excited.
so I'm finalizing that. It is, it is, it's hard. It takes a long time on these formulas because I'm very picky about it. And so I work with this formulator that they're more on the science of like how beverages can kind of like work well.
Mm.
And they're always sending me stuff that has like sweeteners or like weird stuff in it. And I have to like scrutinize because even though I told them not to, they put it in there and then I have to go back and say, okay, do it again, do it again. But it has to taste good. And they're always like, well, if you want it to taste good, you have to put the weird things in it. I'm like, no, we don't. And we keep trying and trying. We're really close on daily greens, but that one's been a little challenging to
Well,
stick.
greens, yeah, greens in general are really they're a challenge. I have a lot of people, and I've had them over the years. That's the one thing, as a trainer and as a nutritionist, that when I tell people to put greens in their smoothie,
Oh, we do that.
yeah, it's like a brain fart. Your brain goes, no, it's not supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
And it tastes weird. So it takes people a while to actually do it.
Yeah. We had that problem. When the kids were little, they didn't object, but now they see the little green specks. So I have to really blend it. But then I also kind of object to that because I don't feel like it should be hidden. I feel like we should just embrace the green specks. Uh, but it is hard, I know. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of them are inherently bitter too, is the problem.
Yes.
So it is an acquired taste and it's tough for a lot of people sometimes to like get it down.
Yeah. Yeah. So to have something that, especially being so diligent about flavor, I think you need to. If you're doing
Yeah.
something like this, you really need to be diligent about it. But that's a hard combo.
Yeah, yeah, but it is a
I
mission. I'm
think.
like, it's gotta be easy and tasty. It cannot be hard, it cannot taste bad. Like, cause that's I mean, people aren't gonna wanna do it then, and then it's just like everything else. So
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, ours went through this phase, or they're in the middle of this phase and have been probably for about 2 months. They're refusing to eat vegetables.
oh gosh.
And I'm still putting them on their plate, but like the
Oh,
vegetables were
yes.
sitting there, and they'll
Yeah,
tell me that they love them, but then they won't eat them. So I'm hiding them right now.
yeah,
But
it's a phase. My other favorite hiding spot other than smoothies, which is a great one, is like pasta sauces, like blending it in a red sauce. And it's like or like muffins, like
although someone in their school told them about green muffins being spinach muffins.
oh no. Why would they do that?
Because they're 3 and they just don't know. They think, "Oh, my mom told me this, so I'm gonna share it." And,
Oh my
you know,
God. The magic though.
Yes, yes. So I'm trying to make them. I'm gonna go for the Grinch muffins.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna pretend to put food dye in. I'm gonna make them help me. This is your food dye. That is the one thing that I appreciate when I meet, various people in this industry, especially like you, who are just using straight up whole foods.
Yes. Yeah, it's a balance, right? You want your kids to eat, you want them to be happy, but you want them to also like do the right thing. And it's like
Yeah,
anything else. It's like, when you start working out, the first times it's like, oh, this is hard, this is hard. But over time, you're like, oh, this is just what I do.
yeah,
So I'm trying to go for that.
I like it. I like it. And I've always told people that everything that you do, people used to use food as makeup.
Oh,
They used to use food as makeup, and in some areas, in full on holistic woo woo world, they actually still do.
wow. I never thought about that. Like berries for red or like, oh, interesting.
There is, and you should Google it, and you guys should too if you're watching this. There is a way to use coffee, ground up coffee, that's either been brewed or not brewed as makeup. So all the brown that you put around your eyes and like the shadows on your
I was
cheeks.
gonna say, as soon as you said coffee, I thought like bronzer. Like I'm so tan.
Yeah, yeah. There are people out there that actually use their morning coffee as makeup.
You probably get some caffeine through your skin or something too.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could think is, that would cover up all the little baggies that happen when the boys have a rough night.
Right. Like tighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, but then you'd have these dark circles.
Yeah. Do what you can. Do what you can.
Yeah, tea bags. Vitaminis, we're good. It's a phase. So one of the things that you and I had talked a little bit about was how a lot of people don't understand gut health and how
Yeah.
things that they eat on a regular basis can actually either help it or hurt it.
Yes.
You
So
know?
true. And we're actually having a big event in November, Nourish and Flourish Summit. We're having a bunch of different experts come in because there's so much. In gut health, you get a PhD in gut health. So I'm just gonna like super high level talk about it. And this is one where I do feel like I stumbled into it. So I talked a little bit about when I started the company, immune support was very front of mind with the pandemic and trying to keep our immune systems up. But the next one was gut health because a couple things. My one of my kids had terrible constipation during this time as well. And anyone who's ever dealt with that, he was 5 at the time, it's horrendous. It's horrible. And I went to the pediatrician and asked, what we could do about it. And her recommendation was immediately laxatives, which kind of shocked me because I'm like, the kid's only 5. We're going to jump to laxatives right away. So I looked at the main brand laxative. Everyone probably familiar with it. And I looked at the main ingredient. The active ingredient is derived from petroleum. And that immediately bothered me. And then, so I went to kind of research more holistic natural solutions. And it's basically like prunes. It's like prunes or laxatives. And I thought, again, my son likes prunes decent amount. But I'm like, where is that sort of like easy, tasty, natural, not only wait till you get a problem like constipation, but like just to kind of keep things up? Didn't see it. And then also my husband has struggled with like IBS type symptoms as well. And it's the same, the formula is the same. It's probiotics and fiber and hydration. So like hydration, probiotics and fiber. And so that was the vision behind this gut health. So this gut health drink, it's blueberry juice, banana puree, which bananas are great for your digestion,
Mhm.
plus as much fiber as a cup of broccoli and as much probiotics as 2 cups of yogurt in this little shot. So that was the kind of vision. So I came at it through like a problem, but the more I get into it, it is mind boggling how important the gut is. And
It
I
is.
just learned about this American Gut Project, which was this huge piece of research that was done over the last few years with thousands of inputs from people. And it just was revolutionary in the sense that it unveiled how important the gut is to things like your mental health, whether you're tired or not, your skin, your hormones, it's all connected. And I think like, so I think people are understanding how connected it is to everything. And also, the number of digestive disorders are really increasing in terms of like IBS, I talked about already, Crohn's, um, celiacs. So you've got like more awareness about how important it is, more issues. And I think all this is coming together and people are getting really, really educated about gut health because it's in some sense, it's a really easy one-stop shop to solve a lot of problems.
It really is. And I shifted my marketing message to gut health because I work specifically with people or women who are trying to manage autoimmune and chronic illnesses. And the
Mhm.
number one symptom is your gut because your immune system has been compromised. It is not going to work 100%. It's not going back to natural unless you do a significant amount of work and you've only reached a certain degree of dysfunction. If you've surpassed it, you're going to struggle with it for life, but that doesn't mean struggle and you're not going to thrive. It's just you have to put things into place. And gut health, managing their gut health effectively is the number one challenge.
Wow.
It's the number one challenge because it can be thrown off like that.
Yeah, I believe it. And I think people don't necessarily know where to start, but there are some basic things you can do, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I love it. I love that your product is so simple because I talk to people and I suggest them doing lemon water first thing in the morning and lemon ginger water first thing in the morning. Well, if they're like me, it is a challenge to
Oh,
get
yeah.
up and do anything first thing in the morning. To wake up, pop a soda, pop a Red Bull, grab a cold brew, whatever, is much easier for a significant amount of people that I talk
Not
to.
even that. We were saying sometimes your coffee gets left on the machine.
Yeah. 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 And it's as simple as just putting the right things into your diet. But a lot
Hmm.
of people don't know that. And we really our ancestors were trying to recover. They were trying to heal a problem in society. And in doing so, it set off this whole industry. And it's
Yeah.
not the industry's fault. It's not the ancestors' fault. They fixed an issue. And we get off track because this new industry and this new way of eating was just much more convenient.
Yes. Absolutely.
And there's so much that we've forgotten as a society. I used to think that it would take forever to make dinner, that you had to be a stay at home mom to make food for yourself.
It's funny. I know. And it's hard. It's a skill. You have to learn how to do these things. I completely, I completely relate to that because I didn't grow up. I grew up not. My family didn't cook much. We had a lot of like frozen dinners and stuff like that. Um, and because like my dad was he was a scientist. He was kind of in charge of the food. My mom worked, but she traveled a lot. And my dad would be like, "You need a veggie. You need a meat." And the veggie would be like that bag of frozen succotash. You know what I'm talking about? And I'd be like, "There you go, eat it," you know? So, my husband is very much, he loves cooking. And when I met him, I literally was like, "Wait, how do you cook a artichoke or an eggplant?" Or like, "I don't know. What do you do with it?" I didn't know how to do much besides the microwave.
No.
It's a skill. And like, and then you add in like kids and work and pressures and like, it's really hard. I think a lot of people don't even go in the produce section because it's like daunting.
Yeah, yeah, and many people that I talk to, at least, don't even know that since COVID, the produce sections have started to chop up food for us.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so you can get produce whole, or you can buy it already chopped up. Nothing done to it. It's
Yeah,
been minced, it's been cut up, and it's been put in a package,
perfect. Just
and
the
that's
raw
it.
ingredient.
So yeah, so convenience food is being reinvented. And, COVID and 2020 have a lot to do with that because these are things these weren't around before COVID.
That's a really good point. It's like before convenience food was like those lean cuisines or something where it was like all
Yes.
prepared. And now it's like taking it up the chain so it's at least closer to its whole original state. That's
Exactly.
awesome. That's great.
exactly. And it was created because of a need in society,
That's
and that's how it always works, is that society needs it. There's a request for it, and now here we go. So we're all moving in the right direction, but it's just getting a little bit more education, get a little bit.
yes. And actually, I mentioned lean cuisines. This is something I didn't really fully understand either until I got more deep into this. But there's a whole bunch of reasons why you may not be getting as much nutrients as you think you are. And obviously, if you're eating very processed, overcooked foods, you're not like canned, you're going to lose a lot of that. But um, I didn't realize that actually eating processed foods at a certain time prevents your gut from getting its nutrients later. So if you're eating a lot of foods with preservatives or a lot of sugar or, other kind of like processed food characteristics, it your gut is not able to get the nutrients if you do eat that broccoli or that whole vegetable or fruit later. And so you have to watch out. You have to read your labels. And I believe in balance. I like to go, eat junk food once in a while too, but you have to be aware if you're overdoing it that you might be actually preventing yourself from getting the good stuff when you do make the right decisions. The other thing that I didn't realize either is a lot of vegetables and produce do not have the nutrients they used to because of industrialized farming, soil nutrient density. So that's sad because like you think you're doing the right thing by buying that spinach or whatever, and it's mostly water. So you have to kind of be aware of that and make sure you're getting more or supplementing when you need to.
Yeah, exactly. We have a lot of supplements in the house. It's not that we take them every single day, but
Yeah.
you need to really look at your diet every single day. If you're not getting fish or omegas in that day, which don't necessarily have to come from fish.
Hmm.
Um,
Algae. I think it comes from algae
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah. And there's these little frozen things that you can buy that is algae and blueberry or algae and
Oh,
cranberry. So for
nice.
people who don't like the flavor, which like me, there's a mental block. I can't just put algae in my smoothie. My brain goes, no. And
That's so
it's the
funny.
perfect solution. It's not that expensive. You get 8 of them, so you've got, a couple weeks or a week at least. Um,
Do you just blend them up?
yeah, you just put them in your smoothie, blend it up. It's
That's
perfect.
great.
Just like frozen fruit. It's tiny little thing.
I
But if
love
you're not
frozen
getting,
food with the
yeah,
smoothies.
yeah, if you're not getting anything like that in your diet, you have an omega. Instead of trying to worry about taking everything first thing in the morning, you wait till later. You wait till just after lunch. Look at what you've got in so far and what you're going to have for dinner. And then
Yeah.
you figure out, okay, do I need it today or do I not?
I love that because people ask me like, "Do I need to take a Vitaminis every day?" And it's like, "No, you don't." Um, Most of my best customers do a box a month, which is 12 shots a month, which is every few days, depending. Maybe today I feel like I'm coming down with something or I'm having an issue or every couple days I'm throwing in a smoothie or, I have it with my breakfast 3 days a week. So yeah, I completely agree because it's hard to stick to something every single day. And when you're so rigid, you're not thinking about the big picture, right?
Right. And you're not enjoying it. I mean, the way that the brain works, it's a pleasure center. If your brain doesn't enjoy it, it's going to try to forget it.
Yeah.
It's going to go for the pleasure versus what you need for your health. And it doesn't matter. Um, with probiotics and with your gut health, it's not that you need a probiotic every single day. If you're trying to heal your gut, you probably want to try and do that every day. Have probiotic foods, have something that's going to feed your gut well and help restore that balance. But you really, over time, don't need that every single day. You're going to get it in as long as you're getting your fiber in every day.
Hmm.
And that can be as simple as not paying attention to, I have to have X amount of fiber. It's, oh, I had a salad or some vegetables at every meal, some fruit in my snack.
Yeah,
We're paying
totally.
attention to the fun stuff versus the book stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't have to feel like such a chore. That's exactly the thought behind Vitaminis. Like it should just be a fun option, an easy
Yeah.
option.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I love the little shot things. I come home with these suckers all the time.
Oh,
And
nice.
Brian's just like, you found another one.
Yeah, a lot of them they expire quickly, which is tough. Vitaminis, because they're shelf stable, you can kind of keep them in your pantry. You're like, but they're so convenient. It's like you're running out the door, throw it in your purse, throw it in your lunch pack, whatever. I know it's really easy.
Yeah. And the 3-year-olds can open them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, there's that age when they like can suddenly start doing that stuff.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, it's great because, it's a toddler size. I know it's for 4 and up.
Yes,
I,
yes.
I do a lot of things with my kids that the packages, but because they're whole foods, I can look at it and go, okay, you can't have a full dose, but we can do a minor
Oh,
dose.
totally. Yeah, and I mean Vitaminis, like vitamin C is for the most part the more the merrier, but the magnesium and zinc are 30 and 50% daily value.
Right.
So you can get to a little kid. I let my 2-year-old have these, but I'll let her have like half of it.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
Yeah.
not gonna necessarily, make you super sick, but it could upset their stomach or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly. And they're not in a place where they finish anything.
that's true. They want it, and as soon as they have it, it's like I'm done.
Yep, 2 sips, it goes back on the counter, it's done.
Hmm.
And my poor 2, they inherited at least a partial of my dairy issues.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I have a full
a lot of
intolerance.
people a lot of
Yeah.
people dairy so both of our products are dairy free, and I know, especially with the probiotics, it can be hard if you have a dairy allergy to get that, like, probiotic source in, because not everyone's gonna be eating kimchi out of the jar.
Yeah. Yeah, and, trying to find a probiotic that doesn't have dairy in it because it's such an easy source.
Right, it's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was one of my first early lessons is I didn't realize how many supplements actually have dairy in them.
Oh, it's an ingredient.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
it's
lot of
interesting.
them, and especially probiotics. It's such a cheap source of it that a lot of manufacturers just go straight for the dairy.
Thought about that either.
Yeah. So it's phenomenal when I can get it and I know without even really reading the label, like you can tell. You can tell if there's dairy in there.
Yeah,
There's no cream.
still milky looking, yeah.
No, it doesn't look cloudy. So, and even in the NICU, we had many issues with it, with like formulas.
Oh, yeah, because 'cause they're using cow milk sometimes, or most times, right?
Right, right. And one of our kids actually got necrotitis. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It's neck. It's NEC, and it's a colitis
Mm.
ailment, and it can actually kill them.
Oh my gosh.
And I had not produced enough breast milk, and they kept trying to give them regular formula, and I kept saying they have not had dairy molecules.
Oh, because you weren't having it when you oh, yeah.
I haven't had, unless I have a accidental exposure, I don't eat it. Um, so it was quite an interesting
Wow.
research project between the RD and myself, trying to find something that they could actually have without dairy and without soy, because I refuse to go
Well, you're
soy.
right, soy is like the number 2 option, right? So it's like, you really gotta go deep and find something.
Yeah.
That's really tough. You do realize that our society is very much built on certain, like, ingredients that are cheap, and they're in everything, and if you try to avoid them, like corn, corn syrup, corn it's
Yeah.
really hard.
It is. It is. And there's so many people that are popping up with corn sensitivities now. And it's not that they're sensitive to the corn. They can eat it fresh, organically produced, hydroponically produced, but they can't eat it when it comes from the produce department.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That is
And it's more
yeah.
about the stuff in the seed, the stuff in the soil, and any spray that it goes through, cleansing process, any of that.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just such a cheap, easy food.
Yeah. It's tough because I mean, on the one hand, it's brought down the cost of eating for a lot of people, but on the other hand, it can cause a lot of problems. You just have to be aware. You have to look, and think.
Yeah, yeah, and, it takes work to get to a place where your food budget is minimal.
Yeah.
is possible. I worked with someone early this year, Caitlin, and she and I have done an episode. She is like my biggest fan right now. She is shouting my name everywhere, which is such an honor. But she homesteads, and they've been
Oh,
homesteading for I think 2 years now, maybe three. And one of the things that they've discovered is how cheap groceries can be for them. But
wow.
it takes time, so there's a way to do that where we can actually save money and still live healthy and eat healthy.
Yeah. But you have to be educated, right? If you just,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you don't pay attention, you're going to veer off into like the average.
Right. Right. And that's, we're lacking a lot of that. We're lacking the education out there. We're lacking the awareness. Um,
It's a really good point because a lot of produce is not expensive. I think people think like some of it is, like
oh
I
yeah,
can love berries and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, berries are so expensive. But a lot of like fresh fruits and vegetables are not expensive, but you do need to know how to cook them. And if you don't have those skills and awareness and you go towards the processed food, then you're paying for all that processing cost. Yeah.
exactly. So here's something to look at when you're grocery shopping. Look at the time of year.
Oh,
So foods that are in season are generally cheaper or are on sale because there's an abundance of them.
oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So eating seasonally is one of my top tips for anybody, especially when you're on a budget, like with berries. They're very expensive all year long. Blueberry season is like May to August, I think. It's when it gets super hot here. So I know it's
Yes.
in that time frame. Um, so during that time frame, they're super cheap.
And as we were talking about, you can go pick them for even cheaper.
Yes,
Without
exactly.
no, and then you can freeze them and use them for like months. No, you're right. It's a good point. And the other thing about seasonal that's wonderful is like you get that variety naturally. So instead of always eating your same thing all year long, you're kind of getting your gut different options.
Yeah. And if you're buying them seasonally, then you're actually getting more nutrients out of them. Like you had mentioned, that a lot of our produce today doesn't have the nutrients that it used to.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Um, it's part of the reason the supplement community is so big. Um, but it is possible to get more nutrients from the same produce that you're buying. Just keep it seasonal, because when you're buying out of season, it has to come from further away.
Oh, yes. You're paying for the trucking costs and whatever else.
And
Yeah.
that's time. And during that time, it degrades the
Oh,
food.
I'm sure.
It degrades the food. So,
Very
uh,
interesting. I love
yeah,
your mission that you're on because I think like, you're helping people understand more so they can make better decisions.
yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have loved this chat, but I know that we both have very busy schedules and listeners have busy schedules as well. So, how can everybody find you?
So we're online, vitaminisbrand.com. And if you go to vitaminsbrand.com, make sure you drop your email and you will get a 20% off coupon code that you can use then for your first purchase. We're also on Amazon. Sometimes when you search for Vitaminis on Amazon, it just turns up the vitamin brands because they buy that term as a typo. So
Yeah.
try putting in Vitaminis juice or Vitaminis shots and you'll find us. And then if you live in the Midwest, we are at Fresh Time Farmers Market as well as the Fruitful Yield. And I'm working on a couple of Texas retailers that I've been talking to. So maybe we'll be in Texas sometime soon, trying to get some of those bigger banners in the fold as well.
I would love it if you were down here. That would be awesome. HEB is huge around here, but they're very big
Oh,
into like Texas brands.
right. Well, actually, Vitaminis are produced in Texas, so I do have them.
Oh, perfect.
They have a Central Market banner, which I know is like a little bit more health oriented. So I'm working on that. If anyone's in their Central Market, put in a request for Vitaminis. It'll help me.
We'll chat after this. When I was working with Biggest Loser, I got to chat with the HEB Central Office for Central Market, and they were one of our sponsors.
Okay, there you go.
I'll point you to one of the ladies that I talked to. I
Amazing.
haven't talked to her in years, but everybody else, all of the links, I'm going to put them all down below. So it'll make it very easy, especially the Amazon link. We'll just link it below because I know
Oh,
you're
awesome. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I loved our chat. Um,
Yes.
and we will see you guys soon. If you have questions, Leslie's information will be below as well. So connect with her. I'm excited to see the greens come out. And once it does, I will give you guys another blind taste test because that is one that I'm definitely ordering. We are always looking for ways to get that in this house because I'm the only one that loves salads.
Oh, I see.
So we are always looking to get greens in this house.
Nice.
So thank
Well,
you.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, you guys, I will chat with y'all later and see you next week.